Okay, welcome to part 4 of the any percent no main menu storage tutorial. Sorry this one has taken so long to come out. It's a sequence of things happened and then I forgot, and then also every time I try to record this something goes wrong, so I need to re-record it, and it's just a cursed tutorial. But hopefully this recording will go alright. So you just quit out after Vengeful Spirit. You're gonna try and do double click early control. I think I got it there. And you're just gonna dash to the right and leave the room. Like so. If you didn't get early control, just get off the bench and then dash to the right. It doesn't change anything about the room. Let me put... And, yeah. So, I'll put a save state here, just because the next room, I'm gonna have to explain a bit. But, this room is just dash twice and inventory drop into here. So before I actually get into the actual part of this room, there is a very small time save you can do here. Which is, you can try to do like a really, really delayed out of bounds that doesn't even put you out of bounds. And it just gives you control and you start moving left earlier. Like that. So you can see I'm moving left immediately. Whereas if you enter the room normally, you can see I won't be moving left until I'm touching the ground. So, very small time save, but it's there. The risk with it is that you time it too early and you actually get out of bounds, and then you'd just be losing time. So, up to you whether you decide to go for that. But either way, you're going to drop off this ledge and hit this aspid as you go past. Soul Collection is very important on this split. This room is going to be the same no matter what you do, but later on there are going to be options for Soul Collection. And I'll try to go over them in the least confusing way possible. But this room is going to be the same no matter what. So you hit that aspid as you go past, and you're going to dash to stop the hard fall, and just because you want to move right anyway. And then you're going to jump up here, hit the soul totem 3 times, and then drop down, hit this guy 3 times, jump up here, get P-float. Well, it's float right now, but when you leave the room it'll be P-float. So that's how you do that. The only difference that can happen is, like, sometimes the leaping husk down here, when you're, like, around here, sometimes he'll be just, like, all the way to the left, and, like, right in your face here. If that's the case, don't try to ignore him, just kill him here first, and then come up here for the soul from the totem. And then land down here and get P-float. Well, float. I don't want to spread misinformation. It's float until you leave the room, and then it's P-float. They do behave differently. So, I'll show you that all at once. So, enter the room. Hit the aspid. Dash over. Totem. Husk. Float. And leave. And that's that room. Okay. Now for this room, you're going to go to bounds. And ideally, you're going to do an out of bounds jump. So, I'll explain what that is actually in this other room. So if you picture this, like, area where I'm floating, where there's no ground, if you picture that as out of bounds, and this ledge as inbounds, your goal is to do an out of bounds in a way so that you just barely touch the edge of the inbounds, and then you jump away from it. So you're moving up and you're out of bounds. And that's the fastest way to do, like, an upwards movement out of bounds thing. So my inputs for that are, I'm going to do an out of bounds input, so transition storage, and then cancel it as the room loads. Except instead of holding away from the level like you would for a normal out of bounds, I'm going to be holding right to go in towards the level the whole time. Until the very end, right before the room loads, I'm going to switch to holding left, and I'm going to jump at the same time as I switch to holding left. Every load is kind of different for how you have to do an out of bounds jump in it. All the inputs are, like, slightly different. For some of them you want to hold neutral until the very end. Some of them you never want to hold right. Some of them, it's different for all of them. And it might also vary based on your load length, so you might have to do a slightly different setup than me. But that's my setup for this one, is I hold right the whole time until the very end, and then I switch to holding left. I'll try and demonstrate. So it should look like that. And you'll notice I actually did a really delayed out of bounds there, like a false knight style out of bounds, where you make it as late as possible while still getting out of bounds. I find that sometimes helps, but you can definitely do it that way as well. I messed it up there. And so that's a common way to fail it, but you can do it that way. But that is a common way to fail it, where you hit your head off of this ceiling inbounds. And so you get the jump, but then you're just stuck at this height. And the other way to fail is you just don't get the jump at all, and you're out of bounds. Or you could just not even get out of bounds, and you'll just be here. So if you're just inbounds, then just leave and try again. If you're out of bounds, you don't actually want to go back and try again. That's going to be slower than just doing this backup, which is dash down, cancel it with inventory, and then come over here, and you're just going to wall jump up around the load zone and get up top. And yeah, that's the complicated part of this room. The rest of it's just dashing. So I failed it, but yeah. So you're going to come up around the load zone, get up here, dash down to get onto the ground, and you're going to dash 10 times. You can fit 11, but you'd have to start like all the way on the edge, and normally you're not going to be at the very edge. You're going to do like this, and you're going to dash down, and you'll be over here, not at the very edge. So you won't be able to fit 11. And even if you are on the very edge, it's tight to fit 11, so I recommend just doing 10. Which will put you around here. You're going to jump, because you do not want to hit this load zone. Wait until you're over it, and dash back down. If you do hit this load zone, you can recover, but you can't just do a normal out of bounds. You're going to have to do an out of bounds, and then dash and wall jump. I dashed twice because I was mashing dash to do it as fast as possible, but you can just dash into this side of the wall and wall jump up. But yeah, you can't just do a normal out of bounds. You have to do that like immediate dash and then wall jump to get back up. So once you pass this load, it's 12 dashes. 11, 12, and that'll put you right at the edge. And you're just going to dash down and hit this load zone. And if you miss this load zone with a dash down, if you're like out a little bit too far and you're here and you miss it, you have plenty of space to just wall jump back up into it. Okay. So, this room is where some different options start to come into play. So, there's a super slide and there's a dash storage are your two options. The super slide saves 3 to 4 seconds over the dash storage if you get it, but you lose 3 to 4 seconds from the dash storage if you fail it. It's up to you. I honestly don't think this one's very worth. It's... I go for it, but I wouldn't recommend it. If I wasn't already in the habit of going for it when we found the dash storage, I would not have started going for it. It used to be more worth it than it is now. But yeah, you can decide that for yourself. I'll show you the super slide way first, just because I'm already in the room. So you're just going to dash until you're off this ledge, and dash down and hold right. So you land in the water, but you don't actually want to land in the water. You want to cancel with inventory right before you're about to land in the water. And you can see, now I have airwalk. Now, if you fail that, and you're too late, and you're just in the water, that's fine. Just quick map, and you'll have airwalk. And if you're too early, don't try again. If you're like, well, if you're this early, you're kind of screwed, honestly. But if you're like, it was even. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to make myself fail it in a way that works. So yeah, if you're like here, just wall jump and don't go into the water and do the quick map back up. Don't try it again. Just because there are things that can go wrong if you fail it in the wrong way. So just make sure you, if you don't get it immediately, just do the land in water and quick map back up. So once you have airwalk, you're going to come over here, and you want to make sure you're at around this height. I'm a bit high, but if you're like around here, where this gap is between these two rocks in the background, between the two big rocks, they kind of go inwards where this gap is, that's around the height you want to be at. You can dash over here, and you're going to super slide off this vent fly. And that should send you straight into the load zone. Like so. Now, if you've missed the super slide, unpause with A, or unpause by clicking continue. Don't press like the on controller, it's like the heal button will back you out of the menu. don't do that, because then you might start a heal, and then you would lose airwalk, which would be very bad. So just make sure you back out of the menu not with heal. That's my only advice there. You can also lose airwalk if you mess up the airwalk in the wrong way. But if you follow my advice from earlier about just try it the fast way once, and if you miss it, do the land in the water backup, then it shouldn't be an issue. So if you're not doing the wrong save state. If you're not doing the super slide, you're just gonna enter this room with transition storage, and you do the same start where you come over here and then dash down, except you're not gonna land in the water. You're just gonna dash straight down to land here, and you're gonna jump up a little bit, and then just do a dash storage. And I can make my inventory clear so you can see, but like it's just a dash storage, and you just wait for the room to be over. So yeah, that'll bring you here. Now, in this room, there's a soul totem. I can actually, I'll break this so you can actually see it. But you're just gonna hit it from down here. Now, the hitboxes, the center of, like, where this arch is according to the hitboxes is right, if I can get there without being sent back down. But, so it's right about here. But you actually can't hit the soul totem from the center of the hitboxes. However, luckily, if you like use this spike in the center of it as a visual cue, that's not where the center is according to the hitboxes, and if you go here, you can hit it. So that's where you want to go, just to where that spike is. Now, how many times you hit this is going to depend on what you're going to do later and what you did in that last room. So if you did the super slide, then no matter what, you want to hit it, well, actually not no matter what, but you want to hit it once, and you're just going to continue. Now, if you only hit it once, there is a 6.3% chance you won't have enough soul. Around there, I think it's 6.275 actually. So if you're worried about that, if you're really worried about that, you can hit it twice, and then you'll be guaranteed to have enough soul. But yeah, it's like a 6.275, I think, percent chance that you won't have enough soul if you only hit it once. So it's a very minimal time loss if you're worried about the RNG to just hit it twice. So that's if you did the super slide, you hit it once or twice if you're worried about RNG. If you didn't do the super slide, then it's going to depend on what you do in the Lurian split. So, in the Lurian split, there is a trick called... Well, actually, it doesn't really have a name. But there's a trick that saves about 4 seconds, and you go through crypts instead of going back around through the Dream Now area and through resting grounds. And it saves about 4 seconds, but it's pretty tricky, so not everybody wants to do it right away. And if you do it, you have less soul collection options. So it's going to affect what you do here. If you don't know what the trick is, and the Lurian tutorial isn't out yet, so you can't just go look at that to find out, then I would recommend just assume you're not going to do it, and so collect soul accordingly. And then if it turns out you are going to do it, then you can just adjust your soul collection to match the route you're taking. So basically, in every scenario except for one, you're gonna be hitting the soul totem like how I just showed you, where you hit it once or twice if you're worried about RNG. There is one situation where you're gonna hit it 3 times instead, and that is if you did not do the super slide and you're going to do crypts. Then you're gonna hit it 3 times instead of just once or twice. So I'm gonna be doing crypts, but I did the super slide, so I'm just gonna hit this once, and I'm gonna make my way. Actually, you know what? For the sake of tutorial, I'll hit it twice just to make absolutely sure I have the right amount of soul. But normally I would only hit it once. It's a low chance that you don't have enough. And it's not even that much time loss either if you don't. But it is time loss. So anyway. If you... so after you've gotten the soul you need, you're just going to let this slope push you back down. And once you're on the ground, dash over here. From here, you're going to jump up. And your goal is kind of It doesn't actually matter too much, but you can, if you get the right height, you can get airwalk from this lever, which is nice. But it doesn't matter too much, so just jump up here, hit the lever. If you get airwalk, then you can kind of jump up here and wait for the door to open and jump through. Like that. I jumped a bit late there. You want to jump like as soon as you can. But if you didn't get airwalk from the lever, then just you'll be like here or whatever. Just dash down, dash over, dash down, and wait for the door to open again. And you'll be in this room. And in this room, you'll be up here. Don't dash down to get to the ground. Just let the slope push you. It is faster. I timed it a while back, but I timed it. It's very slightly faster. Just let the slope push you down. And then dash over. And in this room, you're just going to dash over to the pedestal thing, and you can jump up and dash down and dash over. Or, if you want to be fancy, you can try to just, I had some, I don't even know. Oh, you know what, this is just like the, the like collision around the dream nail spawn is messing with my jumps there. But if you want to be fancy, you can try to jump up to the perfect height, like so. But, you know, it's very minimal time save. So you can just do this and dash over. Now, let me put a save state here. Because I'm going to go through this slowly, but there is kind of a time-sensitive thing, so I'll want to go through it all at once afterwards. So, once you've interacted with this, you're just going to mash through all the text. But after the screen goes white, there's going to be like one more little bit of text. I'll pause my mashing there when I get there. Because that's when you're going to start wanting to do inputs. Is after you get through that text. So after these dreamers do whatever they're doing, you get to here. And as soon as you press through this, you want to start mashing quick map. You're just going to open and close it. And make sure the first thing you do is turn around. Very important. Like, it's not even like a small time save thing. If you don't do that, you might end up with a permanent, like, white foreground over your screen. Just pure white. Your entire screen will be white. You will not be able to see anything. So, very bad. So, make sure, after you open and close Quick Map, the first thing you do is turn around. You will be facing right at the start when you enter. So after Quick Maps, you're going to turn around to the left, and you're going to come over here and just dash down. And you're going to do the same thing. You're going to Quick Map, and make sure the first thing you do is turn around. This time you'll be facing left, unless you turned around after you came off the platform. But if you came off the platform and just dashed down, didn't do any directional inputs, you'll be facing left. So the first input you want to do after closing Quick Map is to the right. And you're going to jump up here. Wait until the camera starts to move, and then stop jumping, basically. So if I just jump and I don't wait for the camera, well, the camera's kind of following me no matter what, because the platforms have already happened, so I'm just going to do this to get rid of the platform, or get rid of the camera. But, so you can see, wait for the camera to start following you, and then you can stop, and then that'll guarantee you're high enough, and you can just dash down if you're too high. If you, like, jump to the perfect height, you can just get pushed down by the slope. It doesn't matter at all. These will all be the exact same speed. But it's fun to get pushed down by the slope instead. And then the camera will follow you to about here, and then it'll go back to the start, and then very shortly after it'll come back to you again. But basically, just because that can be a little disorienting, just so you know what you're doing if the camera does kind of disorient you, all you're doing is going to dash off here, and you're just going to get airwalk on this platform, because it's slightly lower than this platform, so when you go to it, you get airwalk for free. And you're going to come back and wait by this, like, middle pillar in the background. And the reason you're waiting by this pillar is because that moth that, like, kind of flew by already, it normally wouldn't be here yet, and you need to wait for it to be here, because if you leave and the moth is still there, the moth won't follow you and you won't get Dream Nail at the end. So, come here, wait for the moth here. It's not a very long wait, it's just like, you know, a second or so. And then you can leave. I don't have a good cue for it, unfortunately. I just go by feel because I've done it so many times now. But if you want to play it really safe, you can wait until you see the moth on the corner of your screen, and then you're definitely going to be good to go. And you can just leave. Like, if you can see the moth at all, then you're good. If it's moving, you're good. You can go. So yeah, you're gonna have airwalk. Whoops. Oh yeah, make sure you don't just dash over to this platform without jumping, because then you'll lose airwalk, because you're on the ground again. So jump, and then dash back over here. You'll have airwalk, you're waiting for the moth, and then once you're ready to go, you're just gonna dash and use this airwalk to dash across everything. And try not to touch any platforms, because if you touch any platforms, you'll lose airwalk. And then if you do lose airwalk, then just cancel float and just like do it NMG the rest of the way. Just like dash across the platforms like you would if you weren't doing glitches. Because if you just have float without airwalk, you're going to be very, very slow. Now, the reason I'm stopping at this platform is because this is the highest platform in this section. So once you're over this platform, stop moving upwards, because this is as high as you need to be. And if you're much higher, then you're going to bonk on this ceiling over here. So you want to just go like a little bit above this platform. And you're going to keep dashing, and then just continue to avoid these platforms by doing these little small upwards hops between your dashes. And once you get here, cancel Vents of Spirit, or cancel Float, and then Interaction Storage. And then once you've mashed through all this, you can close it and come here. So then like you're already standing here when Dreamnail spawns. And sometimes if you do it fast, then when you pick this up, you'll still have control, which when you pick something up and you still have control, you can accidentally lock yourself out of actually collecting it. So be careful. Basically, as long as your only input is just straight upwards with no walking left or right, you'll be fine. So just make sure, just like if you're using analog stick normally, I just switch to D-pad for this input just to make sure it's perfectly straight upwards, no left or right. And yeah, just input straight up, don't walk while you collect this. And then you'll have it. And that's the end of the split, really. But I am going to include a see or skip at the end of this, just because, it's kind of part of Dreamnail split, even though it's technically an Illyrian split. So once you're through this, just mash pause until the pause menu opens, and then just close it, and dash, and you will leave the room, and you're out here. And there you go, that's the end of Dreamnail. However, like I said, I want to show you the Dreamnail sequence all at once because you'll kind of get more of a feel for how long you have to wait for the moth to start moving. So yeah, I'll show you that. Also, I'm now realizing that, okay, hold on, I'll show you this first. So just do this thing, jump over here, get airwalk on this platform, wait here for a sec, and then you can leave. And, you're good. So I'm realizing now, you can see my soul meter isn't totally full. That's because the more recent strat I did was actually the dash storage, not the super slide. So, if you are going to be doing crypts in the next split, you want to have full soul here, basically. So I don't, because I did dash storage and then I did the soul collection as if I did the super slide. But, yeah, you should have full soul if you're going to be doing crypts. If you don't, you can still do crypts, you're just going to have a small time loss later on in the Illyrian split. But yeah, anyway. And just collect Dreamnail. And you are done. So you can see I have control. So that's why, like, once you've done the up input, you can, like, jump around and nail slash. Just don't walk off the platform and fall and respawn in the dream, because then you will have to collect Dreamnail again. So just, you know, don't do that. And then, see or skip. And you are done. So yeah. I will, see you in part 5, which will hopefully come with a shorter gap between the parts than this one had, but yeah. Have fun learning.